The initial interactions between Native Americans and European settlers in Ohio were at best suspicious. The Native Americans were well aware of the interactions between whites and Native Americans further to the east in New York State and in Virginia. And there's a history of conflict and suspicion between the two groups. And so by the time settlers got to Ohio, the Native Americans were sort of ready for them and in their interactions. Most of their interactions were around trade, where the Native Americans would go out and procure hides and furs and that sort of thing and trade them for things such as hatchets and knives made out of steel and iron, muskets, beads, and that sort of thing. They had trading networks set up where first the French and then the English would supply them with trade goods at specific locations. In Ohio, there was one very large trading site called Pickawillany. It was in business between 1747 and 1752. At that time, the French thought that they had control of the Ohio country. The English moved in sort of unannounced and became a partner with a group of Miami Indians. It was a very good trading venture for a long time, and people came from far and wide to trade to get these very nice trade goods. And as a matter of fact, it was described as one of the largest Indian towns on this part of the continent. The French were first in Ohio and had built up a trading network, and they had specific trading locations that they would deal with the Native Americans. The English saw that there was a lot of money to be made in this, frankly. When the English moved into the Ohio country somewhere around 1745, 1746, there was a conflict going on between sort of almost like a trade war between the French and the English for the attention of the Native Americans to do the best business they could. The French took on the English, and the English took on the French for control of trade in the Ohio country. The alliances between Europeans and Native Americans were sort of split. A lot of groups went with the French, a lot of groups went with the English. And this goes way back to when they were first contacted, that the tribes in what is now Upper Canada, or those areas north of the Great Lakes, were more impacted by the French than they were by the English. And so that the tribes in that area had more allegiance to the French. The English came in later and developed their own alliances. And then the last of these wars for, I guess you call it continental consolidation, hostile takeovers, whatever you'd like, was the 7 Years' War, known in this country as the French and Indian War. It wasn't just concentrated in Ohio, but when you hear about the 7 Years' War, the French and Indian War, the big battles were all on the East Coast. That's a lot of that has to do with the fact that that's where the armies were, but they were fighting for the Ohio country. That's what they wanted. They wanted this immense supply or deposit of resources, not only the furs and that sort of thing, but they knew that there are other mineral resources, maybe gold, silver, they didn't know. And they were fighting tooth and nail between the French and the English to see who was going to control this and become another world power.